Hello, everybody. It's the final My Music of the week, but that doesn't mean it's any less of a My Music than any of the others which have been before. In a minute, I will be speaking to the wonderful Maya who sat in a studio somewhere in the land, but looks like she sat right next to me at the moment. First of all, though, we are going to hear once again from the wonderful Analog Trash with a wonderful video which they've put together just for your delight. So sit back, get your cup of tea, and watch this.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
There we go. The wonderful Analog Trash. Do check them out, analogtrash.com, and fill your boots with wonderful stuff and music that will keep you entertained for hours on end. Music like that from my guest today, Maya. When did you start making music?
So I was in my first band when I was about 12 years old.
That's a good age to start, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I feel like a lot of people kind of start at that age and start dabbling in songwriting and stuff. So I started a band with 3 other girls from my school, and every Friday night we would go to my friend's attic and like write songs and play songs and start doing like gigs in our school hall and the assembly and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started for me. And then
what were their names? Let's give them a shout out now, because you know.
So it was Tabitha, Nicole, Ashreya, and myself. It's been a long time. I'm not in touch with them anymore.
You did very well to remember all of the names.
Yeah.
And what was the band called? Can you tell us?
So it was called Attic Faith.
Because it was in the attic.
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
So that's kind of my first sort of dabbling into like the songwriting and performing world, which laid a really good foundation for me, I think. And then I've been in like a few bands since then. And then when the pandemic happened, that's when I went solo. So
because you couldn't actually see anybody else to make music.
Exactly. Exactly. It kind of forced me into it. So
I mean, was that a scary step for you, having always been in a band then? Because there's always an element when you're in a band that even if you're a singer in a band, or you play a particular instrument in the band, you can always kind of relax a little bit, and knowing that someone else will make a noise when you don't. Or sort of pick up on the fact that you're struggling at that point, and that might sound something that people perhaps who don't make music wouldn't necessarily know. But when you're in a band, you listen to each other. You're not just playing. You're aware of the fact that maybe somebody needs a bit of support at that point in time. As soon as it's just you're completely vulnerable. It's just you out front. So was there an element of a little bit of fear in that, or not?
I think there was an element of fear, but also it was very exciting and quite empowering to be like, right, I'm making something that is completely my own here, and I'm going to learn how to do it myself from scratch. So when I like released my first single, that was like such a kind of proud moment for me, because all I wanted to do was to sort of prove to myself that I could do it. And so it was scary, but also really, really freeing as well. Ironically, in lockdown. So
were there things that you technically had to learn to do which you hadn't done before?
So I basically I'd always kind of wanted to make rock, like do solo rock music, but I was just like, how do I make this music on my own without a band? And then I basically learned how to use Logic, by doing some like online courses over lockdown.
Oh, thank God for the internet. Hey,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
YouTube.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. All the information is there. So I did that, and then I learned about like, okay, how to sort of program drums and that kind of thing as well, so I could have control over that. And then I did this, you know, that website Masterclass.
Right.
So I did like this. Tom Morello did like a guitar masterclass, and I thought it was so awesome because I've been playing guitar for a long time, but I kind of never considered myself to be a guitarist.
Right.
And like doing that course just really made me think, you know, actually you can do this, and like you can solo and you can do all these different things. So it really kind of opened up my world to that.
Now, when you listen to I mean, hear that as a name, Tom Morello, you would assume that he would be starting, if he did a masterclass, you'd be starting at quite a high level. But where did he start at? I mean, he's not starting with literally like here's D and here's G and
I think he did actually.
He did really.
He went from it's a really
Wow.
good course because it goes from like the basics, but it instills in you this idea that you can write a song with like one chord
I love that.
if you want to, and that's really because, you know, he is very much like that, and there are no rules. And you know, he was like he was talking about how one of his favorite songs is just like 2 notes or something, but the message and the power behind it is strong. So I found that quite inspiring.
Wow. Yeah. No, that is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why he's become, I think he's become quite of a favourite of a favourite guitarist of other people, you know.
It's that attitude, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, it was picked up. He did a number of things with Bruce Springsteen even, and I think that one of the reasons it was picked up was because, you know, he's so unique in his approach to guitar. Not necessarily, I've technically he's incredibly proficient, but you know, his approach is quite fresh in that respect. Whereas a lot of guitarists have tried to shroud it in mysticism. You know, I think that was really kind of prevalent in sort of when I grew up in sort of like the late 80s or whatever, with a lot of the rock guitarists, it was like, you'll never be able, you know, Steve Vai and people like that, you'll never be able to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really refreshing to hear someone of that kind of level being like, anyone can do it, and you know, you just need to have the will.
Yeah,
which is a really cool attitude.
Some great advice there already from you, which is check out Tom's, and that's all on YouTube, is it? You can
so there's a website called masterclass.com, and they have like loads of sort of courses from sort of celebrities or people that are quite high up in their respective fields, and he did one of the music ones, so it's worth
the investment.
Yeah, I think so.
And then did you remember any of the best YouTube stuff for Logic?
Yeah, so I used a website called Skillshare for that. And you can get like a free trial on that for a couple of weeks or something, which is good if you want to test it out. And there was a kind of step-by-step Logic course that took you through, because I'd had Logic for ages, but I felt like I was doing everything the long way around, and I didn't really feel like I got it. And there was just like
this
little
taught you all the shortcuts
things, and and it's just made me so much more confident using it. So I'd recommend that, definitely.
Oh no, fantastic. So listen, if anyone's watching and you know you're going through the course or you're learning Logic as well, you know, just swap notes with Maya. She'll be quite happy to just like, you know, because that's what it's about as well, isn't it? You if you communicate with other people that are learning at the same time, it's quite nice. It's like, how do you do that? Oh yeah, I found this. That's you know, it's brilliant. That's the modern world in terms of that is fantastic. Years ago, you had to go do something special. I remember when I first learned to edit, for example, you know, it was somebody had to teach me at a radio station. This is how to edit, you know, and it was all done. It was all very, very technical, whatever. There wasn't YouTube back then. It wasn't like, you know, there was somewhere where you could just go and learn the bits that you didn't pick up that day. You just had to do it again and again and again until you picked it up. Why rock music for you? What is it about rock music that excites you?
I've just loved it since I was like I really got into rock when I first heard the Red Hot Chili Peppers when I was like 10 or something, and I was like, oh, what's this? This sounds really cool and different and freeing and fun. And
Yeah. Did the
that kind of
parents mind that? Did the parents mind
oh,
that at the time?
my parents, I'm very lucky. They've always
Okay.
like encouraged me and taken me to band practice and wanted me to kind of, you know, pursue this route. So they were quite happy. But yeah, so it kind of led me down this rabbit hole of, you know, and then you listen to Nirvana and then like the Foo Fighters and then all these bands come in. And I just love like the fierceness and the energy and yeah, just saying what you want to say.
Is there someone that you're particularly listening to at the moment that, you know, is inspiring you in the rock world?
In the rock world, I mean, one of my favorite artists is PJ Harvey.
Right.
I love her. And while she's not kind of exclusively rock,
she's kind of punk, really, in a way.
Yeah. I think she's awesome because I remember seeing this video on YouTube when I was like 14 in like the kind of earlier days of YouTube. And it was her like playing this festival in Australia. And it was just her on stage with a guitar. And like that was it. And she just had like the audience in the palm of her hand. And she was so cool. And I just remember looking at that and being like, oh yeah, I want that to be me one day.
Have you ever seen the performance that she did with Björk that one time?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And that just a magical thing, really, because they're actually inhabit in one way very different worlds, because Björk's much more into her electronic music, etc. But, you know, you just felt that the two female singer-songwriters there that actually were really pushing the boundary, pushing the envelope of you know, what we expected, I suppose, of female singer-songwriters.
Yeah. And you know, I've also been listening to a lot of Dreamwife. I don't know if you know them. I just think they're so cool, and like their live performances are incredible and so full of energy. And yeah, I just think it's a real like force to be reckoned with, that band. So
you can see it in some of your photos. I mean, you come across quite, you know, quite genteel now. They're talking to you now, but when you get out there and you play, are you a bit of a rock animal? Are you? You know, once the guitar's on and you're in front, if in front of an audience, do you like the performance of rock?
I do, yeah. I feel like
is that liberating in a way?
Yeah, I do feel like there's kind of two sides to my personality. So there's like rock stage Maya and like more chilled everyday Maya, and it's nice to have that kind of
because you can't be that all the time.
You can't, no, but it's nice to unleash it every now and again.
Well, I've met some of rock's, you know, big people over the years, and and actually some of them are, you know, have been absolute gents or ladies, you know, behind the scenes. You know, I was once introduced to Alice Cooper wearing an Argyle sweater because, you know, he'd been playing golf, and, and you know, he spoke very well, and you just think, you know, there is a show. That's the other thing with rock. There is an element of rock where it is a show and it is a performance, but that's great in a way because you know, the audience want to go to let go, and you know, be involved in that for the duration of the show, and then kind of walk away from it. So I think it's great, and I can, you know, having been in a band that really loved to perform as well when I was younger, you know, for me it was a really cathartic experience as well. Because although people see me doing these things and think, oh, he must be actually really quite an extrovert. Deep down, I'm quite shy, but doing those things, it helps your personal confidence in certain situations, but also it's a release, because I think sometimes if you are a natural introvert or even maybe an ambivert, you need an element where you can just let go.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
you
feel
feel
that a
that.
lot. Yeah, I relate
Yeah,
to that a lot. Absolutely.
that's marvelous. What sort of subjects do you want to write about when you write?
I don't think I ever kind of sit down and say, I'm going to write about this. It kind of just happens. Yeah. So, I mean, I've written about a varying different things. Like my first song was kind of, I always view that as like my personal statement track. And it was like that thing of, right, I'm coming
It's my
out and
CV.
yeah. Or just like that kind of thing of because it's called The Line, and it was all about like starting again and boundaries and, you know, starting out stronger than ever and that kind of thing. And then I wrote a song called Walk Alone about women's rights, and that kind of happened when, you know, Sarah Everard was murdered, and I remember that feeling so, you know, upset and angry about it, that song kind of just happened in like 10 minutes because I just needed to say my piece on it. So it's you know, sometimes it's about what's going on in the world or in my personal life as well. So lots of different subject matters there.
But you're not scared of being autobiographical in terms of what you write?
No, I'm not. I
No,
think sometimes, you know, you can write a song and about, you know, it's deeply personal, and the listener won't necessarily know what it is
they won't
about.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, for you, it's you kind of getting something off your chest, so it's quite nice.
Yeah. What's the ambition for you in the next few years? Where do you want to see this now? I mean, obviously you've been picked up by BBC Introducing, which is always wonderful.
Yeah.
What have you got a planned goal in terms of timescale or in terms of things that you want to do next?
I mean, you know, my goal for this year is I'd love to release an EP and release it on like physical format as well. Vinyl would be
Lovely.
really cool. So that's kind of my goal for this year. And then you know, in the next few years, I'd love to be able to just do this full time. You know, that is the ultimate goal, is to be able to just do music full time. So yeah.
I wish you all the best with that, and
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you will, because you want to do it. That you say it's important to you to release something on physical format. Are you really pleased to see like physical format coming back through again now? I'm ever so pleased to see it.
Yeah.
You know, I've even got like people are sending me tapes. You know, what's that all about? You know, we all thought this was dead and buried in the water.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
now it's coming back. And I think it's because, you know, partly I think COVID has had something to do with this as well. I just feel that, you know, people realized in the middle of COVID that the physical elements of being human are so important that actually, you know, having a relationship with other people, if you like, by actually buying into what they do
Yeah.
and really appreciating things like art fully, etc., rather than just everything being in this digital world. And because we were all kind of submersed in this digital world as well, and we were separated off from people, I think people are wanting to come back to the physical. Do you kind of sense that?
Yeah, I do. And I'm really, really glad that it is making a comeback, because streaming is great. And, you know, our access to music is now incredible, and it's, you know, in a way that it's never been before. But I do feel like we're missing out on that, you know, if you really, really love an artist, you actually want to invest in them a little bit, or
Yeah.
you want like that physical, you know, disc or whatever in your hands, because and then you can look at the, you know, the liner notes, and you can look at the artwork, and it's just a different feel to it. And you know, I feel like the way I listen to music now has changed. Like I might not listen to a full album of someone anymore. Like I'll just listen to a few tracks, because I feel like our attention span is like constantly like, oh, there's something else here and there's something else here. So with a physical release, I feel like I put on a vinyl and I'll listen to the
Have to
whole
do it
thing
justice.
in
Yeah.
one go, in the way that it
Yeah.
was meant to be, listened to. So, yeah.
And not only that, vinyl's coming out in all sorts of wonderful, lovely colours now.
It is, yeah.
Which is beautiful. Not that it wasn't, we always had picture discs and things before, but I think people are really kind of playing into the aesthetic now and making sure
Absolutely.
that the aesthetic is something really there. And if you like, the whole artwork bit becomes even more important. And I think that's great that we're seeing that. So EP sometime this year.
Yeah.
Is there a song that you're writing at the moment?
There's lots of songs. This is
Great.
the way I work. I just kind of, I write loads and then I'm like, oh, what's good? Oh no, that's not good. Let's start again. Let's do something else. So
And
that's kind of.
do you always write in the same way? Do you always start do you start with guitar? Do you start with a particular instrument? Do you always work up the same way, or is it a different way of constructing that every time?
I think it is a little bit different every time, because sometimes I'll start with like a chord progression, or sometimes like I've come up with song ideas whilst I've been doing the washing up before, because like I always find like when you're doing things like that, it's like you're doing such a mindless task that suddenly something like pops up. So,
It's because the other side of your brain kicks in. That's what it is.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. It's the same out there, folks, by the way. When you're at work, if you don't move when you're at work, you find yourself going brain dead sometimes in front of a computer. Yeah. And if you're ever out there and you're going like, and it's like, are you working? No, oh yeah, I'm working, but
Yeah.
the best thing to do is move, right? I even know, I once knew a business owner down the road who used to send all of his computer programmers out to play tennis at lunchtime.
Okay.
Yeah? Because actually it gets the other side of the brain working, and then suddenly they'd have that eureka moment, and they'd be like, that problem that I was trying to figure out just come to me. So it's a similar kind of process, I think, with songwriting. It's sometimes you just, as you say, you're doing one thing and then the other thing comes to you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you sing in the kitchen with family as well?
Yeah.
I'd love
sing in the shower, everywhere.
But with other members of the family, do they join in?
Oh, I mean, sometimes.
Because I love that.
Yeah.
That happens in our house. We have 7 in our house, and sometimes we can get to a situation where like everybody's singing together.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's nice. The families that sing together stay together.
Yeah, music brings people together, doesn't it? So
it certainly does.
Yeah.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and hearing a little bit about your music. Tell people, please, if they haven't met you before, heard about you before, what have you got out there at the moment that people can listen to, and where's the best place for them to go to hear it?
Sure. So I've released 4 singles, and I released one in January, my newest one called Torn in Two, if you want to listen to that. And that's
cracker. It's cracker. It's banging, right?
Thank you, Graham.
That's all right.
And you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you like to consume music. So
so do it.
Yes.
I have to give you this piece of advice. I have told this to many people before on this program, but please do consider doing it, because I'm trying to get as many artists to do it as possible, and then we can start a revolution, which is that when you finally get some merchandise made and you get a t-shirt done, please have printed on the back, I listen to Maya on Spotify, whatever, but I've bought the t-shirt for 10 quid. And you see, and that the way it works is that people then don't feel guilty for streaming because they've paid you the money by the t-shirt. Or you can make it long term. You can make it 20, 30 quid if you like. I mean, that's quite reasonable for a t-shirt these days. But
that's a good idea.
It is a great idea. It is. I've had a couple of bands say that they're going to do it already. I'm just trying to get it out there as an idea. I might copyright it at some point and start, a free site for all bands that want to have that as a t-shirt. But I just think, you know, people need to realize you do need to buy the music at some point.
Yeah, it really does help, because obviously when you're at these early stages, you're not really making, you know, money out of the music yet. So you know, anyone that buys like a download of my track or whatever, it all goes back into, you know, the next song or the next project. So it's really appreciated.
Absolutely. Are you going to
Yeah.
play live anytime this year?
Yes, absolutely. So I played live for the first time. I got a band together last year, and we played a couple of really cool shows. So I want to make that a more regular thing this year.
Perfect. Do try and make sure you come Bristol or Exeter way.
Yeah, I'd love to
at some point, because that would be
Yeah.
great, and I'll make sure that I'm there
Oh, awesome.
to listen and make sure that happens. Maya, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, everybody. This has been Maya for My Music. Do check out her music. It's there on the interweb for you to listen to free of charge, but please do give us some money, because that makes it even better, and you'll feel better for the rest of the weekend and beyond.
Yeah, but you know, I appreciate every listen, every message, everything. So thank you very much.
And if you want to learn how to use Logic, she's your lady.
Absolutely.
Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you.